Right now, Raleigh is the epicenter of college athletics in what is a wild weekend for the Wolfpack, with both the women's and men's basketball teams in the Final Four. DJ Burns has captured the country's attention, and NC State looks to continue their Cinderella run on the hardwood later tonight. But first, all eyes on football. Head coach Dave Doran leads NC State into the annual spring football game. And the Wolfpack have a talent-filled roster headlined by transfer quarterback Grayson McCall. We'll see him in a Wolfpack uniform for the first time in just a few minutes. With that, hi everyone, Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with you. We got basketball, we got football, everything going on this weekend for NC State, and there is a palpable buzz here on campus.
Jay, this town is booming. They know that their Wolfpack have something special, not only in basketball, but football as well, so it's exciting.
Yeah, this is a football team that this coming fall has a lot of expectations, and a big reason why is the quarterback that they've brought in to, be the point guard, if you will, this coming season.
Grayson McCall was a guy that was an option guy in high school, but he has shown so much at Coastal Carolina, now transferring here. 88 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. The one thing he can do is throw the football and use his legs effectively. And he's got a wide receiver room and a running back room that's looking forward to get that distribution.
And let's welcome in Wolfpack head coach Dave Doran. We were just talking about your new quarterback, Grayson McCall. Coach, how's his transition to your program this spring been?
Oh, it's great having him. He's a commander. He's a winner. The guy understands what it takes. His process, his daily work, the way he treats people, talks to people, teammates. He's jumped right in, man, and he's got a big chip on his shoulder, so we love that about him. And you'll see it today. He's got great command of what he's doing.
Coach, when you talked earlier this week with us, you talked about competitive depth. Tell us about that and how that's been with this team.
Yeah, as a coach, you always want to have your starting group, but you want guys trying to beat them out, and that competition makes each other better. And then if you have something happen, you have that next guy ready. And through recruiting and development, we've been able to do that. We really had a lot of success in this last recruiting class, adding a good group of freshmen and transfers, and filled some voids in our roster. So it's exciting, to get out on the field and see these guys, the talent level and the competition.
Yeah, we're really excited to see that competitive depth on full display in a couple of minutes. I got to ask, winning can be contagious in an athletic department. You got two teams in the Final Four. What's it been like on campus here this week?
There's an energy here right now in the city of Raleigh, and so happy for those coaches and their teams. Obviously, want to see the men pull it out with Purdue tonight, and it's across the board. You look at where our baseball team's ranked, how wrestling finished, another ACC championship, gymnastics, another ACC championship. Our tennis teams, our men's and women's swimming and diving. It's just Boo Corrigan's done a great job leading our program. And so that's the expectation here, is to be a top 20 football team, a top 20 everything, and that's what we're looking forward to, is continuing to build on that and ride the wave.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Go Pack.
Did you hear Coach Doran mention the expectation is to be a top 20 team? Well, with the college football playoff expanding to 12, this roster absolutely can be in the mix for one of those 12 spots. And the spring game affords us an opportunity to get a preview of the fall. You see the rules there. Running clock come the second half. The quarterbacks in black jerseys, which means non-contact. And no tackling on the kickoff, so not much excitement here for Colin Smith as he gets us started.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is working with your kickers, but don't have anybody else out there. It's just a returner and the kicker to get you going and get the juices started.
Now, this is a Wolfpack program that finished the regular season with 5 straight wins. Clemson, Miami, at Wake Forest, at Virginia Tech, and North Carolina. Dave Doran, you just heard it from him. He expects to be a top 20 team. And with the expanded college football playoff and the addition of Grayson McCall, as we get our first look at McCall in a Wolfpack uniform, you expect them to pick up where they left off.
I really do. I think offensive line, if they can be healthy and get guys there, they've got some people coming in, but McCall is a real key weapon for them. And, hey, let's not forget, your best guy that you can have is a running game, Jordan Waters, who we'll see early as well, the transfer from Duke. There's a lot of good things happening for this offense. Grayson McCall is a starter of that.
Yeah, McCall, one of 13 transfers that Dave Doran have brought in this spring. And we get our first look Waters is another one, gets the carry here, takes that for a first down. You see the flash of Jordan Waters, spent 5 years at Duke, had 12 touchdowns a year ago. He's an NFL quality back.
Oh, man, I saw him last year against Lafayette. I saw him against Clemson last year. He ran for about 123 against North Carolina State. And then when you get a chance to get a guy like this to come over, when you've had some, challenges at the running back position, this only helps you if you're NC State.
And KC Concepcion in the backfield as well. He had 300 yards on the ground. But with Waters in the backfield getting another carry, he's really going to be a nice addition to this run game.
He really is, because what he's going to do is just give you so much, and then it'll open up for Wesley Grimes, a guy that transferred from Wake Forest, who makes plays as well. I mean, they're really excited about all the weapons that they brought in, but Jordan Waters is a hammer, but he's also got the ability to go home run hitter, and you can see him right there against NC State. Those guys were saying, hey, it didn't take him long to come over here and fall in love with us, because we knew he could play. We'd rather see him on our side than down the street.
And I think the important thing is, too, Charles, is he's a proven ACC commodity. He's done it in this league, and they expect another successful season from him out of the backfield.
Jay, the one thing about him that I like when I watch film is his ability to get through that first guy. It's a certain patience that he has, and then he explodes through the hole. If you're a lineman or a tight end or anybody blocking for Jordan Waters, you give him a little space, he will take it to the house. And they got other guys on this roster that can do that as well.
3 straight carries to start this spring game for Waters. Took it for 34 yards. Now Kendrick Raphael in the backfield on the right hip of McCall. And McCall set to throw for the first time in a Wolfpack uniform, and it's right on the money for a first down. That's what you're going to get from McCall.
You got the arm strength, the ability to throw the ball over there. You got the transfers on offense. Grayson McCall, we called his name quite a bit, Jordan Waters. But then you also have Zeke Correll, who's out right now, but he's going to be a really key person. 10 starts last year for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and they're really excited about him when he can come back and play after spring.
NC State returns 4 starters on the offensive line. Zeke Correll from Notre Dame, the one starter that this fall will be the new face, but he comes with a great pedigree from Notre Dame. Great blocking from the offensive line. Plenty of room to run for Raphael. Shoved out of bounds inside the 5. We were just giving love to the big boys up front. They created quite the hole there.
Look at this, how they come off the ball, those ace and deuce blocks on the inside, and Raphael just hits it downhill. Another young man who's had a great spring, but a really good year last year, 309 yards rushing, a touchdown. The one key for NC State, and we talked with Coach Gibson, is they got to get better in the middle, stopping the run. They've done that, but they've got to get bodies there, big bodies to hold up. This offensive line is going to challenge them all spring like they have, and in the fall as well.
McCall kept it himself.
Yeah, good hustle right there. And they gave him a touchdown.
I was going to say, it's not contact. You got to hand to him. I think you got to rule him down.
Yeah, they want to give him a touchdown.
Well, that'll count in the fall.
Yeah. Coming off the edge, blocking there, and then you can see, he's like, he's down.
Cannon Lewis, the freshman linebacker from West Virginia.
Yeah, Lewis was like, hey, man, I got to make a play on Grayson. I know I can't hit him, but I can touch him. He's down. He really did a good job of getting over there and scraping to that play.
And Waters couldn't quite find the end zone there.
Defense has settled down. Wyatt Wright coming off the edge, weak side linebacker. They've got some young linebackers that we'll see. Wright is one of them. Bonner's another one. Really, and Kelvin McBride. Some young, talented players, because you had a really strong group of guys at the linebacker position up until this year. Now they've all transferred out, graduated out, and now you have to replace some of those guys.
3rd and goal, trying to punch in Grayson McCall's first drive in a Wolfpack uniform. And this defensive front has done a lot better since they got inside the 5 here against the run. Waters was getting everything he wanted early.
Well, a little bit of it, too, is, they're not doing as much up front as far as blitzing. And you could see it was somewhat vanilla, but then as they got down here, there's some guys coming down in that 3-3-5 look where they're really filling those gaps, making it hard for the running back to find anything on the interior.
Now, this is what a live scrimmage is all about, a 4th and goal opportunity for your offense.
Yeah, you get a chance to go live on live, and you get the chance to really see what your guys can do, especially on the interior.
McCall, play action, back pedals, and throws it perfectly to the back of the end zone. A beautifully thrown ball to the tight end transfer, Justin Jolie from UConn.
They've been excited about him in the spring because of his ability to do that. He had about 74 receptions during his time at UConn, and here's a nice job of the tight end getting out there, sneaking out. The coverage is there. Jackson Vick is trying to cover him, but this is a perfect situation for a tight end. Eyes get big, even up here. And I haven't played tight end in a long time, but that makes me excited for Justin Jolie.
Well, Jolie, another one of these impact transfers that NC State has brought in. So transfer to transfer, McCall to Jolie on the first drive of this spring game. 32 new players in all when you factor in the freshmen that were early enrollees. So a lot that you're trying to blend together this spring, and they look so far so good.
With a heavy dose of Jordan Waters and Justin Jolie, you're going to see a lot of this year. It starts now.
And we'll be joined by the senior captain, Davin Vann, when we come back. Now, giving you a sneak preview of what's to come this fall here in Raleigh, NC State, a talent-filled roster. They went into the transfer portal offensively and getting their first look at some guys in a Wolfpack uniform. Grayson McCall in this offense goes 9 plays, 75 yards down the field, and scores a touchdown. And we're joined by senior captain on the defensive line, Davin Vann, one of the standout returners for NC State. And Davin, I'm curious, what are your impressions of all these newcomers, transfers, freshmen that you've been competing with this spring?
I'm real impressed. We got a lot of talent. It's kind of just up to us to go, take advantage of what we got and, improve on what we need to improve on.
Davin, I got to ask you and your brother, he's a center, you're a defensive lineman. How much did you guys go after each other as kids, teenagers, and even now?
All the time. That's a great question. I think that's where we really get our competitive spirits from. Having a little brother that's so close in age to you, you always want to be better than him, and he always wants to be better than you. So we always used to go at it, and we still do,
Wolfpack fans are getting their first look at C.J. Bailey, the freshman quarterback out of Miami, as we're joined by defensive lineman Captain Davin Vann. I'm curious, you're around this defensive group, you're a leader on that side of the ball. Going against these offensive players every single day, how does that help each other and strengthen each other when there's so much talent on one team, both sides of the ball?
I mean, it helps us a lot. A great example of that is Jacarius Peak. Me and Peak, we used to go against each other when he's on scout team, and we still go against each other now. But just the improvement that he's had, it's a testament to what iron sharpens iron means. So I think that having great talent on both sides is just helping us get better.
Davin, what about all the basketball around here? I played hoop growing up. I'm sure you and your brother did. I know he was a wrestler, but if you didn't play, what's the excitement around this basketball program, men and women?
I mean, it's real exciting just seeing, people we know that we go to school with and them representing our school so well. It's just real exciting.
March Madness, I think we're going to see that on football now with the college football playoff expanding to 12. Has that been talked about in your locker room? Hey, let's make a run of our own. Let's get in, be a top 12 team, and see what happens with the new CFP.
Yeah, that's been a real important
big run. C.J. Bailey showing off the wheels. That's a freshman to keep an eye on.
Real impressive. But, 1 and 12 has been a huge thing that we've been focusing on. Of course, we want to be number one, but, being top 12 is one of our goals.
That's awesome.
What about C.J. Bailey right there? I mean, he's been a guy that I've heard a lot of buzz about. What have you seen from him so far this spring?
You know, C.J. Bailey's real impressive. He's long. He's got a lot of talent. He knows how to make good decisions, and I think that he has a really, really bright future, and just here and football in general.
Thanks for the time, Davin.
Thank you.
Davin Vann, the senior captain, anchoring the defensive line. Appreciate the insight. And C.J. Bailey in this Wolfpack Young Guns. Duke's got two freshmen. How about the bright lights on the freshmen for the first time in a Wolfpack uniform? And those two look terrific there.
C.J. Bailey, I watched some highlights from him in high school, and I was impressed with his arm slot. And that's the first thing you started hearing about him, but also his legs. He's 6'6", and he's faster than he looks. Right there, one move down the field, and I'm going. I'm making sure I can get by you in the long strides, and it's taking guys a chance. Look, he gets caught, but they can't tackle him here. But I thought this was really, really nice by him, this first drive. Of all the things you've been hearing about Grayson McCall, hey, CJ is saying, hey, don't forget about me. I was a 2-time player of the year in the state of Florida now.
And that's what's so great about the spring game is you get to see your first look at what's to come. And it's two freshmen, C.J. Bailey, the quarterback, Duke Scott, the running back, finishing off the drive. Grayson McCall, his first throws in an NC State uniform, right on the money. He looked really good on that opening drive. And then the freshman, you got to remember this name, C.J. Bailey. What a bright future he has in Raleigh. A 60-yard scamper, which set up a touchdown. So far, and it's very early in this spring game, some new faces that we've heard a lot about. It's one thing hearing about them, another thing seeing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they get a chance to go in a stadium where they've practiced and had scrimmages, but now you have fans. You have more of what it's going to feel like. This is never going to be the game, but it allows you now a chance to get at least close to the game as possible to understand what you'll feel. And you saw that with C.J. Bailey. Grayson McCall, 42 starts on his career. He's used to this, but there's a certain buzz no matter how long you played when you get ready for a football game.
Clean pocket. McCall fires a dart. And plenty of room to run, too, for a first down. Dakari Collins. That's his second grab of the spring game.
You know, interesting in talking to the coaching staffs and just getting an understanding. You know, Robert and I talked about doing the deep dive in the offseason, looking for perimeter skill players to add to the ones they had, right? Score points, advance the ball, and then find the best quarterback available. Grayson McCall was that guy that they brought in, and that gave them an opportunity to really get things moving in the right direction on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, both the running back room and the wide receiver room have so much quality. You heard Dave Doran say competitive depth. So you have all these weapons.
All came out late. But, sorry about that.
You have all these weapons. You need a quarterback to utilize them, and they bring in McCall, who's a proven commodity, 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year, a lot of reps under his belt. Now he gets to do it in the ACC, and he comes into this league with a chip on his shoulder because he was not recruited by any ACC teams, and he played his high school ball here in North Carolina.
Well, the last few years, if you haven't seen Grayson McCall, you missed a guy that could make a lot of plays, and he was just phenomenal in that Coastal Carolina offense. And then now to see him here, getting a chance to do this, get outside, look to throw, get rid of the football. That's a veteran guy. Everyone's covered there. But his ability to throw off schedule is one thing that jumps out on film when you watch him. He's able to do that, but it never seems to panic him. He just seems calm about doing things, and I think that's what you find in talking to Robert and I. And they had Brennan Armstrong, who was a really good player for him, and now he leaves, and then you get another guy that you can replace who can probably come in. And what did he keep saying? 11 on 11 football. He liked how he was able to work in that environment.
Hollywood Smothers into the backfield, gets this carry, bounces it outside. Check out the speed. Hollywood Smothers.
Hey, you could see the difference in guys moving, and Hollywood Smothers was gone. Transfer out of Oklahoma. Watch the out of West Charlotte. Golly. problem for the defensive guys. They're coming up thinking, hey, it was whoever else was there. Kind of has speed, but then they didn't anticipate how quickly he got up on them.
He's got a great name, but an even better game, and another one of these impact transfers that are North Carolina natives. You know, Noah Rogers, Wesley Grimes, Hollywood Smothers. They're North Carolina kids that went away to start, went into the transfer portal, and decided to come home.
Well, and a lot of it, too, is what the connection between the staffs and these guys, knowing that they would be able to talk to him. Got a player down. Hopefully he's just nothing serious. And you can see guys going after the football, almost gave it up. T-Mac Cooley, Tamarcus Cooley with the real good job of trying to punch that out.
It's Jalen Parker, the redshirt junior middle linebacker, down for NC State. Will step away. Now, welcome back to the NC State Spring Game. Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with you up at the booth. Down on the field, Aiden White, lockdown corner, senior for this NC State team. Joining us now is, you know, the offense has looked better than the defense so far, Aiden. I know you being a shutdown corner won't be happy about that. What are your impressions of these guys early on?
Yeah, I say first day of spring, offense came out humming with new quarterback, new receivers, new running back. So as a whole, I say offense looked real complete, and we're definitely competing every day. We go back and forth, and offense they done had a lot of good days this spring, I can say.
Aiden, how do you go against guys? I mean, because this is a new receiving crew. KC was there, but you've got Dakari who's been here, and then all the transfers that have come in. How does that help you improve your game each and every day?
Yeah, I say all of them have a different skill set that they're good at. So just knowing who you guarding and who's out there, but they all give you something different, which is good because you can line up against multiple different people and you're not getting the same look every time. So as a DB, you appreciate something like that.
Break some of those guys down for us. Let's start with KC. What's it like going against him?
Going against KC? Oh, we need that, Jolly. going against KC, he real shifty. If you don't get hands on him, it's like nothing really can do. Y'all seen that last season as a freshman. That's before he even got to work with the receivers coach or any of that stuff. So I'm excited for bro.
What about Jordan Waters coming in, from Duke? You guys struggled against him when he played y'all last year. Now you have him on your sideline.
Yeah, don't remind me about that. But I'm definitely glad he with the good guys now. So he's real patient in the backfield, and when he see it, he'll hit it. And he's not no arm tackle you can bring down. You're going to have to bring multiple defenders just to bring him down. And he still probably gain extra yards. So
that's great insight from Aiden White, one of the best corners in the ACC. I'm curious about your game. You enter the transfer portal, withdraw to stay here at NC State, one of the best shutdown corners in the country. Why was it important for you to return to the Wolfpack?
It just building something good here. We got a great group of guys, had good, even better guys coming in, just a good supporting role all in all. So just to complete the whole season, win the ACC championship, make it to college playoffs, and I feel like we can do that here.
Hey, and one thing too, Tony Gibson has been here a long time. Having him as your D coordinator, how has he been to help you improve your game as well?
When you just have a coach that's just that smart and call such great calls, it just help you. It just really puts you in a better position to make the play whenever you can. So he said it all the time. He gonna get a call and he gonna put us in position, the best possible position for us to make the play. And I think that I would say that goes out to show on the field.
Hey, a lot of attention about Grayson McCall, the quarterback that's been brought in here. Everyone talks about how accurate he is. Have you been able to pick him off in spring ball?
I say Grayson. I don't even think Grayson threw a pick this spring.
Oh, wow!
Like when I say he real poised and you can't. It's hard to bait him. He's a veteran quarterback. Like some of them young guys you can bait because they ain't seen it, but he's seen it. He gonna take that check down when it's there. He gonna just take what you give him. He is real veteran. So I'm glad for bro.
Well, that's frustrating for you this spring, but this fall, that's going to be great to watch when your offense takes the field, right?
Nah, no doubt. I'm excited for them boys.
Awesome. Aiden White, thanks for the time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, he's a future NFL quarterback, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and the ability, and Aiden broke some of those things down. What you have is how do you look at working against yourself and then getting prepared to play others, I think is really the key with spring. And for him to be able to not allow a touchdown in a league like the ACC where you have some really good, talented players, that's a testament to his ability as well.
McCall just perfectly threads the needle. His accuracy has to be his best quality. It's Collins again on the reception.
I'm telling you, I went back and just looked at last year when he was playing App State and then Arkansas State. Right here, this delay route is one that receivers love because the quarterback can bait him into thinking, the DB thinking that he's going to go deep. Then he throws that quick strike underneath. The real key for him is just he finds his receivers open and he gets the ball to them where they can run. I was looking at Isaiah Lively when he was coming out and all those big plays he had at Coastal Carolina due to Grayson McCall. It was all, you could see it from every year you watched him play to how well he could throw the football after people thought he couldn't do that coming out of high school.
And all the talk of the offensive weapons, NC State also a new kicker this season. Kanoa Vincent knocks that through. It's spring football just beginning here across the ACC. 6 more games highlight our spring football schedule next Saturday on ACC Network, ACC Network Extra, and ESPN Plus. You don't want to miss Mac Brown, North Carolina's all-access practice starting us off at 10 a.m. Eastern. So you can wake up and watch 3 or 4 spring games throughout the day. What's better than that?
Potpourri of games. You can watch a little hoop later, but for sure watch football first. And the next week it won't be any basketball. So, yeah, it was good also, too. You and I had a chance to catch up with Ruffin McNeil before, and he had some real good things to say just about how this program has been built. It was also good to talk about all those guys and what they've been able to bring and how this consistency of coaching staff has stayed together as well.
I think that's the incredible thing. Dave Doran, year number 12 here at NC State, in a changing, evolving landscape of college athletics. He kept every single coach on his staff from last season to this season, and 340 years of coaching experience on that sideline.
They've seen a lot, man. They have seen a lot.
Dave Doran has to be happy with how his new faces look. 13 transfers, 19 early enrollee freshmen, and a lot of them getting involved. First quarter in the books. We've still got a lot of football here in Raleigh. Well, an awesome weekend here in Raleigh. 2 teams of the Final Four on the women's and men's side, and then the spring football game here today, and right down the road tomorrow, some lacrosse. So you got all these sports overlapping at once. A top 3 matchup. Number 1 Notre Dame at number 3 Duke. You do not want to miss it. Tomorrow, noon Eastern time on ACC Network. We'll start of the second quarter, and we've already seen some flashes of brilliance here between these new faces for NC State. C.J. Bailey is one of them, the freshman quarterback. Scampered for a 60-yard run in his first drive in a Wolfpack uniform, and they are really high on this freshman from Florida.
They really are. I mean, and it's good for him to come in with a guy like Grayson McCall, who has so much experience, to be in that quarterback room. Lex Thomas, also a guy that's been injured, but they say he's having a good spring. But this has really been a young man they've been excited about since he's gotten on campus.
And for NC State fans and the coaching staff, what you have in the returners. Guys like Davin Vann and Sean Brown, Aiden White, all on the defensive side of the ball. But you bring so much talent in on the offensive end, as Bailey again decides to run it. And this is the fans' real first opportunity to get a taste of all this talent that they've been reading about, that they've been hearing about.
The hardest thing is when you have so many different people coming in to get them to bond together and work together. And I think that's the part that's, Dave Doran and his staff have to continue to do. Because they got a couple of more guys coming in fall.
That's true.
When you have the two Auburn transfers that come in. So just getting them to mesh together is always difficult.
So how do you do that?
You got to do things that are strategic in how you approach getting guys together, bonding, getting them over to different affairs and functions, and making sure that they not only do it organically, but sometimes as a coaching staff, you have to kind of create that, help them. If you have something at your house, you invite not only your position group, but other position groups. You're just getting different things so these guys can get accustomed to each other.
And every Wednesday, actually, they get the first-year guys together. So that's the freshmen and the transfers, and they do something called first-year focus. And that's to get everybody bought in, to the principles of this program, because they've got the blueprint. This is a team that's been productive, one of 5 programs in the Power 5 conferences that have won 8 or more games the last 4 seasons. So Dave Doran has the formula. It's just getting the new guys caught up to speed.
Yeah, the only team that's won more than them is Clemson in the ACC over the last 5 years. 34 games they've won. Clemson has won maybe 1 or 2 more. But that just goes to show you consistency of how you win. And then the other thing last year, that down the stretch, those last 5 games, not the bowl game, but the last 5 games, what they were able to do is really impressive against Clemson, against Miami, against UNC. They were able to win some games on the road, and I think that's going to be critical if you look at this year, because in early part of the year, you get Western Carolina, then you've got Tennessee, Louisiana Tech, and then you're at Clemson. You're going to know early how well your team is going to play.
I totally agree with you. And Dave Doran said the expectation, top 20 program. I think a lot of we've heard from the players. Yeah. They expect to be in the mix for the college football playoff now that they've expanded to 12. You said it, Buck. Tennessee on September 7th, Clemson on September 21st. Those 2 games will determine whether the Wolfpack are going to be in that playoff or not.
Yep, you'll see that Tennessee game. That's in Charlotte, the Duke Mayo Classic kickoff, whatever they're going to call it, but it's going to be there. And then after that, you've got a sandwich game with Louisiana Tech and then Clemson. I think early on, if you can show that you can do the things that you need to, you give yourself a real good chance to get into later into that stretch and show what you can do.
I'm still adjusting to seeing Stanford and Cal on an ACC schedule.
Yeah, I mean, being a Pac-10, now Pac-12 guy, understanding that league, it doesn't seem right now, just like UCLA and USC, Washington, Oregon in the Big Ten.
Well, Grayson McCall and the first team offense starting from their own 2-yard line. Jordan Waters is such a weapon. You can't say enough good things about Waters. A huge addition in this backfield, and they're going to need him early in the season. Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte taking on the Vols.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a critical game. I mean, you know what Tennessee's going to bring. Their fan base is really – there's a lot of Tennessee Volunteer fans in that Charlotte area. There's a whole lot of NC State Wolfpack fans. So I'm really looking forward to that buzz in the city in September.
What do you think? It won't be blue, half orange, half red?
I think it'll be half and half. Yeah, I really do.
I think there's going to be a lot of buzz for both programs. I know Tennessee obviously likes their quarterback, but I think the better quarterback in that game will be Grayson McCall.
Well, unless the Wolfpack say they just want to take it over and it's 70-30. now, you know what? I do think that, too. I think when you have a quarterback like Grayson McCall, he gives you that advantage. The one thing here that we talked about, and they've even said, they have to continue to improve their defensive front. And that's going to be a really critical factor. I think the offensive line looks like if everyone stays healthy, they'll be good there. Those are the things that get you excited, because you can come out of spring looking one way and then fall if you have anything that sets you back. I think these guys looking at it and saying, we got a chance to be really good.
A couple of flags on this possession.
False start. Offense, number 66.
That's what spring is for, right? Working out the cadences. New quarterback with this returning offensive line.
Yeah, Matt McCabe is walk-on scholarship guy, just moving just a little early, but he's played really well for him. Yep, he's battling for that. You see him, the little lunge out of Cary, North Carolina. That left guard position is one that Anthony Carter Jr. is not playing, and he's in the battle. There's a battle for that guard position.
McCall decides to take a timeout. It's been great to see Grayson McCall living up to the hype. 4-year starter at Coastal Carolina, now with the ACC with NC State. Joined now by defensive coordinator of the Wolfpack, Tony Gibson, and during the NC State spring game here, Coach. I'm just curious, impressions so far and impressions through the spring of your defensive group.
Yeah, I really like where we're at right now. Our kids are, we have a standard to live up to here on defense, and, the guys in the past have built a really good brand, and, we want to continue that. Obviously, today you're not going to see a whole lot. We're staying pretty simple. And got a lot of guys out, so that we aren't playing with. But I like where our kids are at. Like their attitude, like the way they approach it every day.
Coach, I know you don't like to see big passes given up there, but I go to the defensive front. We see your guys in a battle in the defensive tackle position, DN. What if you had Big Burns playing on one of those positions? I know he doesn't want to, but I could say you would want him to.
Yeah, I'd love for him to come in and give us a little bit of depth at nose guard. I don't know if he's a DN. He's athletic enough to be, but with that big body, we'll put him in there at nose guard and let him wear a center out. So, I'm looking forward to watching those guys tonight too. By the way, it's an exciting time around Raleigh right now.
I was just going to ask you. We didn't get the invite, but I understand because y'all are going to have fun, and I'm looking forward to it as well. When you get back to what you've seen with your defense, just all the way around, not the front, but the guys that we talked about, the battles at the linebacker position. How have those gone for you this spring?
Really good. Caden Fordham is a guy with a lot of experience, along with Devon Betty, Kamal Bonner, Kelvon McBride. So those guys are all playing at a high level right now and competing. And then obviously Sean Brown, that we moved in from free safety, is going to give us depth. We're holding him out today, so not going to get to see him. But really like where our room's at. We got some other help on the way that will be here in May. So, but extremely proud of how those guys work. And the biggest question I always have to answer: how are you going to replace Peyton Wilson? Well, for the whole nation, it's no surprise we're not. He's a guy that's you can't replace that. But just excited for these guys to get an opportunity and keep working.
Well, part of filling Wilson's shoes is that decision to bring Sean Brown down from safety to linebacker, and you mentioned we won't see him today. I'm curious, how has he settled into that new role?
Really well, and with our scheme, our free safety was a guy that fits the run game with those backers, knows a lot of the calls, so they're all kind of married up with our nickel, our free safety, and the package we run, so he's it's not unfamiliar for him. And just really, really proud of him and how he's worked and the transition he's made. And he'll do anything for this football team, and that's the kind of guys we have.
Coach, you got to get your defense to pick Grayson McCall off. Even Aiden White said, hey, we've struggled against picking him off. I think you guys may have had one. What is it that makes him so special and gives you guys a great look every single day?
Yeah, Grayson is he's got great pocket presence. He understands the game, reads defenses really well, and we're different. I mean, we drop 8 out in the coverage, and he still does a really good job of taking care of the ball, and he's patient. He's going to take his check downs at times and not try to force the ball in. So, he's very heady. He's going to be a great player for us, and looking forward to keep watching him grow in this package.
We appreciate the time, Coach. Enjoy the rest of this football game and enjoy the basketball tonight.
Yep, can't wait. Going to have a couple coaches over rooting on the Pack, and let's get a big one.
All right, Coach, take care.
All right, thank you guys.
And that's the thing. You talk to players, you talk to coaches, you talk about the kids that were walking to the game earlier today.
Yesterday, and it was the buzz around the Pack. It's great.
It really is the epicenter of college athletics right now, both football and basketball. And Jordan Waters continues to shine in Raleigh during this spring game. 23-yard touchdown.
He's a problem. And I think this offensive line, look at the blocking here. They're going to pull, and you have guys in front of him, and he makes one move and downhill. And then easy. It takes more than one guy to bring him down. And Aiden White had the breakdown. I talked about it earlier. The patience in the backfield and then the explosion through the hole. And he's not going to go down with one guy. When I've watched him consistently, this is what he's done. This is who he is.
You heard Aiden White, shutdown corner earlier today, said, I'm glad he's with us because last year he torched us when he played for Duke.
Yeah, he just has a certain ability that is next level. You can see it. Stay healthy, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's really good in pass pro on the college level.
And he's got the proven pedigree.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's done it at this level. 12 touchdowns a year ago in the ACC. Now he's moved from Durham to Raleigh, right down the road. He's got 7 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. He's been the star of the Wolfpack spring game so far. With NC State's basketball team making this amazing run to the Final Four, that is the talk of the town and really the country. DJ Burns. We decided to have a little fun. College basketball to NFL pipeline. Because if you saw Burns walking across campus, you would think he's a football player, not a basketball player.
Jimmy Graham, Julius Peppers, Antonio Gates. You know, guys that can play. Tony Gonzalez, another one that just, and most of them tight ends. And look, and Jim Nagy, with anyone else having trouble watching NC State big man DJ Burns and not thinking about him kick sliding and pass pro or getting out on pulls, can't just with me. I responded to that, and me and Jim went back and forth. But man, you got to imagine a guy like that on campus thinking, how many times has Dave Dorn and the staff tried to go and recruit him?
So what do you think his best position would be? Because we just talked to Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator, that wants to put him at nose tackle. But I'm with Nagy. I see him more of a left tackle, right tackle.
Especially with his hands and how he moves, I think tackle would be probably better for him. But he's going to do the right thing and play basketball.
No doubt about it.
Ultimately is much better for his body.
So this spring game, you know, for Wolfpack fans, this is the appetizer because the Final Four game against Purdue is later tonight. But what a fun weekend. You got the women in Cleveland last night making it to the Final Four, losing to undefeated South Carolina. They played great in that first half. And then the men's basketball team playing later tonight. And then a little preview of a football team that is highly anticipated next fall.
Yeah, you got a new quarterback in Lex Thomas, who's playing now. He's one of those other young guys, but this is a lot of excitement around not only the quarterback position, but all the other skill weapons that you see that have been brought in here.
3rd and 5 for Thomas here. In his first drive of the spring game, pressure coming. Get rid of it quickly. A couple of broken tackles and a first down. Ball's out. And NC State has it defensively.
It's funny, Jay. I was going to say it's been a pretty clean game, but that was one right there. The ball pops loose.
And it's Kelvin McBride who is in perfect position to scoop it up. A talented linebacker that they're very excited about here.
And Anderson, one of those young receivers who's really good, but you can see the ball getting batted out right there. Really nice job by Corey Coley getting that ball out. And then McBride, we talked a lot this week about the McBride factor, how good he's going to be. Played linebacker and wide receiver in high school. Really athletic player.
And that gives Grayson McCall favorable starting field position here. So working with a short field for the first time after on the previous drive they started from their own 2-yard line. A little trickery. McCall delivers inside the 10. It's the tight end, Justin Jolie, after some trickery in the backfield.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, eye candy, so to speak. Grayson McCall going to get it back, and then when he does, he knows Jolie is out there all by himself. Coverage, when you see all of that, Wyatt Wright may have been the guy that should have been there, but watch here. You're going to see all the movement, and then that tight end just sneak out. There has to be man coverage, and generally the person running behind late may be the one that needs to be there, or the safety over the top. Really good trickeration by Robert and I.
Gain of 40 sets up a 1st and goal, and the run game continues to deliver. Raphael that time punching it in. 2 plays and a touchdown for Grayson McCall and his NC State first-team offense.
The offensive line has really done a nice job creating holes for these running backs. And part of it, too, is like what you want to see is how your guys just come off of blocks, not doing anything fancy. You'll see this defense that'll have a lot of different run blitz. They'll be doing a lot of different things. But right now, you just want to see guys winning those up-front battles. And right now, the offensive line has done a really nice job of that.
Now, that's what Wolfpack fans will be hoping to see this coming fall. You get the turnover on defense, and your offense turns around and immediately cashes it in for points.
Yeah, you want to take, anytime you get the ball back, you want to come back and make it happen like this. And when your offensive line comes off the ball, look at those red jerseys locking up the white. Raphael just says, hey, I had never had an easier touchdown than this, but I'm going to take it to the house.
Now, on the previous possession, great look at this fumble caused by Corey Coley, the transfer from Maryland, and they are very high on this corner.
Well, when you have a chance and you know how to play the game, you're going to get blocked, but watch the hustle. Then he gets down the field and able to punch the ball out. As a receiver, that's the worst place you can be, but for a defensive guy to hustle and show that shows up on film. Those are the kind of teaching points that coaches want to have in games like this.
Defensive coordinator Tony Gibson told us he is really happy with his secondary. Obviously, Aiden White, who we spoke to earlier, is the standout at corner, but Brandon Cisse and Corey Coley providing some really nice depth at the cornerback position.
Yeah, and really good job. Now, right here, you can't push the quarterback. You can touch him, but that's a little bit more of a Bonner. Bonner knows, like, okay, I want to get to you, but you got to slow your roll. He had 5 games he played last year, 4 during the season, and then the bowl game doesn't count, so he was able to redshirt last year. They're expecting a lot out of 34.
You can see why on that.
Oh, he's got quickness off the edge.
And great instinct as well. Clean pocket this time. Thomas overthrows it. Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the Wolfpack offensively, and rightly so, because there's probably more additions on that side of the ball. But when you take a look at this NC State starting defense going against Lex Thomas right now, what stands out to you as the strengths of this defensive group?
Well, I really think that secondary is, I mean, you don't have Aiden White, but you know he's going to be there. Just the guys that have made some plays already, that secondary, and then the young linebackers. I'm interested to see how they step in and mesh now that they've had some losses. And then Sean Brown, who's not playing, but I heard he had a really good spring, is also one of the key areas for this team. They're going to have to shore it up on the inside, no doubt about it, because then you can't have enough big guys interior. You just can't have enough of those guys.
Now, last season, one of the best defenses, not just in the ACC, but in the entire country. So big shoes to fill, especially with no Peyton Wilson there in the linebacker core.
Well, what they do a good job of, and they've done this since Tony Gibson has been here, is causing turnovers and then just really not allowing teams to have positive plays at times. They've had so many different tackles for loss. Since his time, they've been 10th in the FBS, averaging about 83.4 per season. So they get you in negative yardage right away, and it makes it tough for you to kind of get out of those holes.
I just think you look up and down this roster, and there's so many units that are strong. I think the expectation will be to be at the top of the ACC and to compete and be one of those teams in the mix for the expanded college football playoff.
Yeah, I really do. I think that's right away you think this team is going to have some ability coming out of it, especially with all the folks that have come in on the offensive side. And you know, Robert and I talked about it. We need explosive players, and they've gotten some of those. KC, or Kevin Concepcion, was one of the guys they had to use in the running game and the pass game. They can still do that, but selectively now, because you have others that can make plays for you on the outside.
Yeah, Concepcion, the ACC Rookie of the Year, but he had to do it all at times. Now there's a lot of depth in those running back and wide receiver rooms. C.J. Bailey bobbles the snap. And he's getting his first run with the ones. Grayson McCall's day is done. Debut for the Wolfpack here in the spring game. 11 of 14, 168 yards and a touchdown. He looked pretty good.
Yeah, just a normal day at the office. But really good when you join the team and you're trying to mesh with them. And and they're understanding pretty quickly how well you can play.
And we saw what Bailey could do playing with the second team. Now he gets his first shot playing with the ones.
Yes, it's always good when you're able as a young player to finally get that chance to get with the ones, to understand what that speed is going to look like. A little bit different than what you've been playing and accustomed to.
And you're seeing the arm strength here. Bailey taking a deep shot. Falls incomplete. Well, we've mentioned a lot of the new faces, Charles, but this is who's coming back for NC State.
Yep, Concepcion, you can see from a rush and a receiving standpoint. Dakari Collins, another guy that stands out. Raphael, who we just saw with that touchdown run, and Sean Brown, who they're really expecting some good things. You see the loss of production with Peyton Wilson, but I still think you have some of these young guys. And like you said, you're not going to replace one guy. Jalen Scott also played really well for him. But you can see the people that are coming back really going to play a big role.
Bailey getting great protection from this veteran offensive line unit. And that time puts it right on the money. Noah Rogers, the transfer from Ohio State, originally from Raleigh, back home making plays like this.
Really good catch. And just nice pocket protection there. Very clean. And the passing window there. And I'll tell you what, Cannon Lewis has shown up quite a bit. It might have been one that they said helmet to helmet during the season. But what I've seen with Cannon Lewis is one of those young linebackers trying to show up and flash. And he's been there. The freshman out of West Virginia.
And I said Grayson McCall's day is done, but he's actually back in. They run the reverse to Concepcion. Check out the speed. KC Concepcion weaving through this defense. And you see why he was the ACC Rookie of the Year last fall.
Jay, you also need guys to block down the field. And watch this. You're going to see so many lockup. Dante Daniels on the end there, but downfield blocking by receivers, locking guys up. That allows big plays to happen. You can see coming in, looking for people. Joe Lee right there. Another receiver coming, Baldwin trying to pick up a block. They're all knowing that, hey, if I give this guy just one little room or one little inch, he's going to take it.
So Bailey back in as McCall just came in for the one play. That sails over the head of KC Concepcion.
Yeah, Bailey will want that one back. If he gets that right to him on that pass play right there, that's a touchdown easy for Concepcion. Snap was a little bit off, but all you have to do is just put it out there and let him go make the play. He already had the defensive back beat. That's one that Bailey will look back and say, that all I need to do is just give you the ball and let you go with it.
Well, as a freshman early enrollee, that's what the spring is for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that happens. That's why you want him in with the guys that are going to be potentially making a play. So if he gets a chance, he'll know how to hit them in the right spots to get them set up for success.
Now the arm strength, not a question. A bullet to the end zone. Wesley Grimes on the receiving end. Can't do it any better than that for the early enrollee freshman C.J. Bailey slinging the football.
I like the short memory. He didn't connect on the other one. He came right back with a strike. Again, really good pass protection, and look at this throw. I mean, on the money. Woo. Yeah, that was nice. And really good job by Grimes of just running that route and beating the defensive back, leaving him right there. Tank Boston had no chance. Tank Boston played offense and defense in high school. He's still adjusting to that secondary spot. He's going to be a really good player as well. He's getting to see Wesley Grimes taking a little bit of that experience right at him.
Now, in this first half, the first team offense has been dialed in from the jump. Grayson McCall, C.J. Bailey, both getting it done. Should be a fun fall for this offense in Raleigh. Well, we saw the legs of C.J. Bailey, and now getting some reps with the first team on the first pass.
Yep.
Sailed on him. The very next play, Buck. How about this response?
Missed on that one, but he came right back with a nice strike to Grimes. And we're going to see some of that if, at times. I'm sure they're going to give him some ability to make some plays in certain games to get him comfortable, or Lex Thomas, whoever gets that second spot. But you can see there the ability from C.J. Bailey.
3 for 5 through the air for 50 yards and a touchdown that you just saw, and then 4 carries, 73 yards for Bailey. What a debut it's been for the freshman. All the attention on McCall, but Bailey looking equally impressive during the spring game. And I'll say both offensive lines have been excellent in this first half, opening up some big holes. And Duke Scott, the freshman, runs through that one.
Yeah, just all they need is a little bit. Everybody, that good block on the inside by Kamen Smith, and then downhill by Scott. All you need is that one right there. They're going to bring it back from a holding call.
I didn't see the hold on the replay.
I didn't either. And it was a little bit late.
A big run of 38 yards negated.
Yeah, Brandon Cleveland probably got held up at the defensive interior, but yeah, he's trying to get away and then disengage, and yeah, that's a hold. But Duke will say, hey, it's still on tape for me. I had a great play.
Another one of these bright freshmen that early enrolled and have gotten a lot of praise throughout this spring camp. Now, tomorrow it's an ACC softball doubleheader right here on ACC Network. Number 13 Virginia Tech taking on NC State, and then it's North Carolina squaring off against number 2 Duke. Softball doubleheader right here on ACC Network. Coverage begins at 5 Eastern.
Yeah, I also like what Coach McNeil said earlier too about one more. Guys coming in the office and just saying, understanding what they need to do to get better each and every day. I think that's what these kind of games give you, but it also helps you understand how programs are being built.
Yeah, to elaborate on that, this NC State program, every single day they ask every single player, what's your one more today? And if everybody accomplishes that, you make sure that you get better each and every day. They report it to their position coach. And Dave Doran, if he comes up to you and says, what's your one more, you got to answer quickly.
Have your elevator speech better be quick. It can't be any hesitation. Yeah, it has to be quick.
A program that has had 8 or more wins in 4 straight seasons. You look at this roster and you just feel like with so much talent, this is a 10-win team, if not more. I think they'll be in the college football playoff conversation. I guess just looking in the ACC, who's the biggest competition to NC State? Who would you put in that top tier of the league?
I mean, automatically you think Clemson, right? Clemson, just because of what they've been able to do over the last few years. But that's the thing with this. Who else is going to have this influx of transfers? Who's going to have some other people that come in and stabilize their program as well? Yeah. Florida State is another one. They lost quite a few, but they also are going to have quite a few coming back. Louisville was really strong last year. So, I'm looking at those teams at the top, and those are the ones that stand out right away.
And then maybe out of the bottom, who do you expect to leap up and improve?
That'll be an interesting thing. As I look at that list, it's always a surprise team. And it always kind of comes back to who hasn't been there, but who's kind of coming up. Could it be Pitt? There's so many different factors, and that's why I want to see these spring games to see who has gotten an influx of this talent level that is there and who's now going to take that next step.
Some new head coaches in the ACC as well. I think maybe one of those 3 teams, Syracuse, Boston College, or Duke, could be the sleeper.
And then you got the Cal and Stanford equation also. I mean, so that's why this is going to be a different kind of year, because you got an influx of new teams coming in, but you've also got these teams that we have seen last year, and what are we expecting them to do and improve on for next year?
You mentioned those 3 new coaches in the ACC. Fran Brown coming over from Georgia. Manny Diaz, the Penn State defensive coordinator. And Bill O'Brien coming back to college from the NFL.
Yeah. And I think you and I talked about it. Syracuse had some stretches where they played some pretty good football. Fran Brown has also brought in an influx of talent. Manny has to shore things up there. They lost some people. We see Jordan Waters as one of them here. Bill O'Brien always has been good as an offensive guy. What is Boston College going to have this year is going to be interesting. So those are the things with those coaches that they have to figure out right away.
Feels like every year, so many new coaches, so much instability in college football. Then you look at Dave Doran, year number 12 here as the head coach at NC State. He has so much continuity year in and year out on his coaching staff. They've got 340 years of coaching experience. McCall back into the game. Beautiful throw on the run. You know, he's got some escapability to his game.
Yep, and he's always looking to throw the ball when he's escaping. That's a prime example. When you have field like that, he says, okay, how can I get the ball to a weapon as opposed to me just taking off and running? And I'm going to keep this play alive. Last second, get rid of the football and get it to a receiver.
And he gets an opportunity to get some live-on-live in a 2-minute drill situation. He has been a star in this first half of the spring game. Takes the check down there.
Part of it, the offensive line has given him a lot of protection. He's been clean in the pocket, so to speak.
What's the biggest adjustment for McCall coming over from 4 years at Coastal Carolina, now competing in the ACC?
Getting consistent with your team. I don't think it's even the ACC.
Okay.
It's understanding, but it is learning who he's going to play. But I think the hardest part is making sure you have the consistency with your guys, so when you go battle other people, you're ready for that. You know, you're comfortable. You've been in a place where you know the lay of the land. Now you're coming in a place where you don't know all these teams. You don't know what they're going to do differently each and every week like you did when you were at Coastal.
And NC State elects to use a timeout to prevent the clock from dwindling here. 46 seconds left of the first half, giving McCall and his first-team offense an opportunity at a 2-minute drill.
You know, one thing we also have to say, Kurt Roper, who's his quarterback coach, has got a lot of experience in the ACC as well, and has been at, was at Duke before, has been other places. So he'll be able to help this quarterback room itself really understand what they're in for. And Robert and I, having the experience of being at Virginia and being here now, understanding the ACC as well, I think that bodes well for anybody playing the quarterback position.
How would you grade him today?
As advertised.
Yep.
Nice, easy A. Yeah, I mean, it was. He had already taken the, he knew the notes and everything to the test, and he took it. And I like what Tony Gibson said about him. Even when we drop 8, meaning they have 8 men in coverage, he still finds the holes, and that's the patience and the things that you saw. He doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over much. 88 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, so he protects the football, and I think that's the one thing you want to have when you have a quarterback, whether he's an experienced guy or a young guy. Hollywood smothers.
Again, this is a stable of backs. Dave Doran said this is the first time in his 12-year tenure that they have had a stable of backs at this talent level.
One thing you worry about is, do they have a football enough for all those guys?
Right.
But they can do a 2-back situation. They can do a lot of things with the weapons that they have in that backfield.
Well, Robert and I, offensive coordinator, who we will hear from at the start of the third quarter, he said he's even got some 3-back sets.
Yeah. I can see it.
They certainly have the talent to go along with it. It's just about how do you bring all this talent together?
Yeah. I think it starts with the guy that has a lot of experience at the quarterback position, who most of these guys, when they decided to transfer in and saw Grayson McCall's name, probably said, oh, okay, we got a dude that can throw the ball. And then Jordan Waters comes over, another cat that can, smooth and can make things happen. Yeah, I mean, it makes it easier. And you see KC probably saying, hey, guys, I could use some of the help. I still want to make plays, but I would love to have you here.
That was almost an interception. Bobbled ball landed in the chest.
Dakari Collins was the receiver there. Ball gets knocked away, I think, by Jackson Vick. Comes in late.
Yep.
Good job by Jackson Vick.
Jarred it free.
Yeah, and that's another good teaching point, right? Come through the ball, not to the ball. Just really disruptive by Jackson Vick.
It was Joshua Ofor who had an opportunity to pick that off. A freshman early enrollee out of Jonesboro, Georgia. We were talking with Tony Gibson. He said that kid is special. So keep an eye on Ofor throughout his career, just beginning here in Raleigh. The clock down to 15 seconds here. Fourth and short, McCall can't spike the ball. I think they're going to just wind this down and attempt a field goal here at the end of the first half.
Yep. No panic.
So the big difference between the second half and the first half in this NC State spring game is the second half is a running clock. And you'll likely see McCall out of the game. In fact, I thought his day was going to be done prior to that drive, but they threw him back in there for a 2-minute drill.
Yeah, I think that's what they wanted. They probably said, hey, if we get to 2-minute offense opportunity, let's put you in there so we can get you accustomed to working with your guys. That makes the most sense.
And we'll hear from Grayson McCall during that second half. Curious his impressions on his first work in a Wolfpack uniform. And coming up at halftime, you'll hear from our ACC Network crew out at the Final Four at Phoenix as the Wolfpack get ready for Purdue. Can the Cinderella story continue? What a run it has been for these boys from Raleigh. Shades of 1983. So still a lot to come here at the NC State spring game. Basketball and football, Raleigh, NC State, the epicenter of college athletics. And we're having a lot of fun. Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with you. Still a lot more to come here on ACC Network. Well, check this out at halftime. NC State superfan Noah Whitaker takes the handoff from McCall into the end zone. Touchdown, Noah. Oh, that is terrific. Thanks to Gigi's Playhouse for putting that together. That's the best touchdown of the NC State spring game so far. Having a lot of fun here. Awesome stuff. Well, getting to check out the 13 Wolfpack transfers today during the NC State spring game. And I think the highlight, Jordan Waters coming right down the road from Duke. 7 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown to lead the way. Second half action after this.
Excellent.
Now, the Wolfpack offense has stolen the show at the NC State spring game so far. One half played, a second half still to come. Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with us, and we're joined now by the offensive coordinator, Robert Anai. Coach, this offense looks great. You have a lot of new faces to work with, including your quarterback, Grayson McCall. His transition this spring.
That's our spare.
Although Coach can't hear us right now. Hopefully this works.
How we doing, guys?
Coach, how are you?
We got 15 seconds. I'm great.
Tell us about Grayson McCall, your thoughts on his performance in the first half.
We look forward to developing further, but I think he's very poised and having a great deal. Hey, I got to run. Sorry, guys. Love you.
Okay. Robert Anai, offensive coordinator, a man of few words. We appreciate the 15 seconds. And, look, the offense, say what you want.
Yeah.
We saw the offense. We don't need to hear it from him because we saw how explosive Jordan Waters looked, how confident and comfortable Grayson McCall, the quarterback, looked. And the offensive line, I thought, performed very strongly.
Yeah, they did. And I think that's, when you look at what they were trying to accomplish, incorporating all of the skill guys that they can, but also the running game. They talked about being able to do that more consistently, and your offensive line has to come off. You have to establish the run to get those things going, and they were able to in that first half. That's when you look at this team and you look how they're structured, they're going to have to be explosive.
Well, we didn't get much from Robert Anai, the offensive coordinator, but we've just been told that we're going to be joined by the new quarterback, Grayson McCall, when we come back. You can hear from the Wolfpack new quarterback on the other side. Now the second half underway here at NC State. The spring game here played in early April. Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with you. And the offense super impressive in that first half. And the starters are out. Gives an opportunity to the second, third, fourth stringers to show off some of this competitive depth that head coach Dave Doran was talking about. And with the starters out, that means we're joined by the new quarterback of NC State, Grayson McCall. Grayson, we appreciate the time. How about it? First time in front of fans in a Wolfpack uniform. How did it feel out there?
It's awesome, man. Unbelievable day out here. Beautiful day. A bunch of people showed up. Just blessed to be out here with the new guys. Throw it around a little bit, have some fun in the sun. So it's been a great day. Going to relax and watch the rest of the guys get these reps in. But unbelievable day and super blessed to be out here.
Grayson, take us back through when you first made the decision, but then also had to walk into this locker room with new guys you have to get accustomed to and used to. How was that for you?
It was awesome, man. One of the best transitions I've ever had in my life. You know, they talk about it being a family here, and they really mean it. I mean, 120 guys welcomed me in to the locker room the first day I stepped in, and the coaches just trusted me and kind of handed me the keys to take over the offense. It's been an unreal transition, a lot smoother than I had expected it to be, but you know, really excited about the decision I made and just so happy to be here.
You could have gone a lot of places, Grayson. Why NC State?
Yeah, you know, this program is a special one, one that Coach Doran's been building for a long time, an extremely relevant program for the last, 4 or 5 years, and they've been right there, close to taking over the ACC and doing big things. And I think, with the pieces we brought in this year, we can do big things. But, just being in Raleigh, close to home, and joining an unbelievable program with a great coaching staff and a lot of really good guys. So I'm really happy with the decision I made to come to Raleigh.
Grayson, one football, a lot of weapons. You're going to have guys chirping in your ear. I need the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. How do you make sure everyone gets their touches and gets things going in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, it's 11-man football. Everyone does their job, and, just stay patient and you do your job, and I'll do, the best of my ability to get you the ball. A lot of explosive guys on offense, a lot of really good players. So I think I can just sit back there and try to deliver the ball the best I can, and I think we'll do great things on offense this year.
And going against this defense every single day in practice, what's that like? Because there's a ton of studs on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It's been a very competitive spring. I think I've gotten so much better this spring, and just going against them every day, it's really iron sharpens iron, and it's been awesome, man. They're really good, and that's another big reason for coming here. The defense is always going to be good, and it seems if the offense can just do their job and put up a little bit of points, then we'll be really successful.
Grayson, you weren't recruited by many ACC schools. You have to have a chip on your shoulder. How does it feel to now say, I'm getting ready to go in here and I'm battling every week?
Yeah, it's been the mindset my whole career, really. I think that chip on my shoulder has got me to the point I'm at right now. Really under-recruited out of high school. Did some really good things my first 3 years, and I feel like I'm still being overlooked. So still sense a little bit of disrespect. So, I'm here to prove things this year. And I think that's the kind of the whole mindset throughout the team. So expect big things.
Grayson, you won't be able to see it, but we're showing everybody at home your look at Coastal. This is more of a clean-shaven look here at NC State.
Yeah, man, I'm one of the old heads in the locker room, so I got to do something to make myself look a little bit younger.
Yeah, the mullet and the beard, it's incredible. And last thing for you, we've been asking everybody, incredible run by this basketball team to be in the Final Four, both men's and women's, but the men playing tonight against Purdue. What's that been like being on campus when a team's making a run like that?
It's been unbelievable, man. Coach Doran talks about it every week. We're all tuned in, and we all kind of reflect after the game what they did well. And things like that, and it just shows you what type of community they have here. The whole school and the whole community of Raleigh getting behind them and really cheering them on. So, hopefully they can get it done tonight. We'll all be tuned in and cheering them on, and then the national championship, baby. So we're tuned in, and it's always go Pack.
I have to imagine the expectation is for you guys to be in the college football playoff in the fall and making a run of your own.
Yes, sir. We've been talking all offseason about the number 12. 12 games, being in the top 12. It's something that has been in conversation a lot this offseason, and something that we're going to keep in the back of our minds. The expectations here are high. The expectations are to win, and that's what we're here to do.
Thanks, Grayson. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. Go Pack.
Grayson McCall, 16 of 20, 205 yards passing and a touchdown. And you heard him say the number 12. They've been talking about it all offseason. 12 regular season games promised. A 12-team college football playoff that's expanded, and the expectation for this team is they are going to be one of those 12 teams.
Well, you had to do it on the field, right? And you know they've had consistency over the last few years. Now, how do you get to that next step? And that's going to be the real critical piece for this Wolfpack offense and defense, team in general.
You asked a great question about how do you balance the weapons, because everybody loves the competitive depth, right? But nobody thinks that they're actually going to be the fourth or fifth guy on the depth chart.
I've been on some of those teams where you have to figure out how to get close to the quarterback so you can get the ball.
In the running back rooms and the wide receiver rooms here in Raleigh, I think the deepest it's been in Dave Doran's tenure, and that's a great thing until midway through the season somebody's thinking my numbers should be a little higher.
Well, I think what cures that is winning, and I knew he was going to say that, but if you just look at this right now, C.J. Bailey gets better because of being able to work with these guys in case he has to come in and just play even just to get some experience. Lex Thomas, who also is in the battle for that second quarterback spot. But you got great guys to throw to, man. Guys that want to catch the rock and make plays for you.
And Bailey in now. Slings it right over the middle. C.J. Bailey, he's been a big bright spot, a couple of broken tackles.
And that's Juice Vereen, tight end. Built more like an H-back, but we saw him before the game and some of the warm-ups. This dig route, beautiful because he opens up that window. You see him looking that way and coming in, and then the strength to Juice Vereen, who afterwards can use a little bit of that big body at about 215, 220 to knife through the defense.
Now, we just talked with Grayson McCall, who gave us some great insight on the offense. We're hearing now from Sean Brown, who joins us. Sean, this has been a fun offseason for you, converting from safety to linebacker. You're really the anchor of this defensive team. Tell us how that transition has been this spring.
It's been great, having guys like Betty and Caden really helping me along the way to learn the new positions. It's been great.
Sean, seeing the game through the eyes of Tony Gibson, I know he were at safety, now you moved to linebacker. How has that transition been for you?
It's been great. Having Coach Gibby, he knows what's best for us. And so, me believing in the coaches and trusting what they're saying, to get me to the next level, I really trust them in their word.
When you look at this offense, they've had a lot of firepower. How have you been able to stop them consistently? But what have you seen from them this offseason?
It's just guys making plays. You're going to have one of those days where the offense gets in you, and then you're going to have those days when defense is playing lights out. And, just having that back-and-forth battle with them, it's just been really good to have, see what how dynamic the offense is.
Watching Peyton Wilson the last few seasons, what can you take from his game and try and implement in your own?
It's just really playing off of instincts, not really thinking too much. It's just kind of just being free out there. When you thinking a little too much out there for a defender, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. So just playing off of instincts.
How much do the guys in the secondary still talk trash to you? I know you're going to get some plays, but they all are still saying, "Hey man, you're one of us, or you're a linebacker now."
They clown me. They were like, "Oh, you a linebacker now? You can't talk to us no more." I talk to all of them. It's crazy because I still tell them I could play DB if I really wanted to, for real.
No, we believe that. No doubt. I'm curious, young guys coming in, right? So let's really focus on the 19 freshmen that were early enrollees. Who are some guys that have stood out to you like, oh man, that kid's pretty good. He's going to help us. CJ Bailey,
Joshua Ofor, we got Cannon Lewis, Zane, Brody Barnhart. Those guys, they've been asked to step up in various occasions, and they played up to it.
Awesome stuff, Sean Brown. We really appreciate the time and looking forward to watching you guys this fall.
Thank you.
That move from safety to linebacker gets him in the box more where he can really make plays.
Yeah, and the way you have it with the 3-3-5 defense, he can still swing and do some things, but also some of the coverage aspects helps out. And I think that's really critical for him in that transition. And Coach Gibson can see that moving him there. But I knew the DBs were giving them kind of crap. That's the kind of stuff that happens.
Well, that's good camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
And as much as we've talked about what's on the football field, it's interesting. Speaking with the coaching staffs, when you bring in 32 new players in a spring, it's about developing off the field as much as it is developing on.
Yeah. I mean, because you're going to spend time in the locker room, you're going to spend time at practice, but then it becomes the downtime where you're just kind of hanging out, going to watch the basketball team, as they've talked about, going to watch baseball, because their baseball program here is really good. Just getting together and helping, because you know, on programs on campuses, you get accustomed to hanging out with your crew, but then you also see all the other people that you want to spend time with as well. And I think that's the part of getting incorporated into the campus life as well.
And also finding that fast chemistry, right?
Yeah.
You don't have time anymore. Everyone wants results immediately. So many transfers coming in. I mean, there's still a spring portal that needs to open up.
It's 15 days for spring practice. You don't have a lot if you're a coaching staff. I mean, the players, sometimes we look at it, oh, man, day 14, I can't wait for it to be over. But for this time, you have a chance to get these guys all running together and getting these kind of reps together.
You know, now that all the starters are out, who impressed you most out of the ones?
Well, the two that jumped out, Grayson and Jordan Waters. I mean, just from a skill weapon perspective. And then I think the whole offensive line. The quarterbacks really never touched.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about the offensive line, but a unit that returns 4 starters from last season, and then you add the veteran center from Notre Dame, Zeke Corral. This is a really good unit, and I think that had to play a factor in McCall choosing NC State, as he knew he had a really good line in front of him.
Yeah, I think that's the case. And also, too, I will say with spring games, generally the defense isn't going to bring guys. And this defense is a pressure defense. They get after you. So they were almost in a position where they're playing base, but it gives you a chance to see, can guys get off blocks? Can guys make plays? We saw Corey Coley make a nice play on defense. You saw some of the guys on defense hustling to the football. Some of the young players like McBride getting the fumble recovery. You know, you're starting to see some of the young names that they talked about this week, and now we're seeing it come to fruition.
Wednesday night, the Huddle crew will have their annual draft analysis special highlighting ACC players that they expect to be drafted, which is less than 3 weeks away. Can you believe that? Our 1-hour show begins at 9 Eastern right here on ACC Network. That is Wednesday night. Obviously, one of the top ACC players that'll hear his name called in the NFL draft, NC State's Peyton Wilson. Give me a comp. Who does he compare to playing in the league right now?
Man, he is so fast and moves around so well. He's a weak side guy. I mean, you know, he could play middle linebacker if you put him there, but I like him on the backside moving around. Just a comp now. Oh, that's a tough one. Nothing comes to mind like this is a comparable. Who do you kind of see as one of those guys that he could be similar to? Ooh, another good throw.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone really jumps to mind, but he's going to be a really good linebacker and play in the league for a long time.
Shaq Thompson, because Shaq was a safety coming out of school, moved to the weak side, makes a lot of plays. Peyton Wilson is one of those guys that's sideline to sideline guy, can make plays for you good.
I would just say he's your prototypical modern-day NFL linebacker.
That's a good one.
You know, covers a lot of the field.
But I'm going to tell you, I saw him at the Bronco Nagurski Awards, and I was surprised at his size. He's not a little guy. You know, like sometimes linebackers aren't as big as when I played, where it was Carl Banks at 6'5", 250.
Yeah.
But he was still very well put together. Man, they're knifing through this defense.
Yeah, it has been all offense. And that's another star freshman to keep an eye on. Terrell Anderson, the freshman from Greensboro, North Carolina, to finish this third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, that was a strike again by C.J. Bailey, but Anderson catches it, and not only catches it, gets through this defense. Ball gets out, boom, right on it. And he's able to just run through one tackler, two tacklers, made a couple of guys miss. That was impressive.
I know people are focused on the present, and for good reason. This is a really good roster that will compete at the top of college football in the fall. But you got 2 freshmen connecting there. The future is really bright in Raleigh as well.
Yeah, it is.
And no doubt about it, the offense has been the story here at NC State. 44 points of offense, only 7 for the D. You're talking about the NFL draft. There are some notable first-round picks at NC State under Dave Doran. And I think we got a few more playing in this game that one day will be playing on Sundays, no doubt about it. Start of the fourth quarter here in Raleigh, NC State spring game, giving you a sneak preview of one of the best teams in the ACC for this coming fall. Charles Arbuckle, Jay Alter with you. 5 minutes from now, we will send you to Phoenix, where it's everything NC State today because the men's basketball team is playing Purdue in the Final Four. There's great buzz around campus this week, talking with players and coaches.
68.
So stay locked in on the ACC Network. If you want to hear about NC State basketball in about 5 minutes from now, we will continue the spring game on the ESPN app if you want to stick with us here in Raleigh. And joining us now, Noah Rogers, transfer from Ohio State, adding to that wide receiver room. Noah, obviously great job by this offense to put up so many points. What's it like playing in an offense with so many weapons?
I mean, it's very fun to play an explosive offense. In my mind, I don't think that there should be a drive that we shouldn't score, So every time we go out the field, we challenge ourselves to score and get a touchdown.
Noah, what was the thought process to come back home to Raleigh and play for the NC State Wolfpack?
It was a hard decision. I have much love for Ohio State, but it just wasn't fitted for me. So, when I hit the portal, NC State was a top option, and, I feel great and I'm confident in my decision, and I haven't been better since.
Did you grow up going to Wolfpack, football and basketball games?
Yeah, I have. I've been coming to NC State games since probably about 7th grade, and the environment, I've always seen what it's like, and I know I could be an impact player for the University of NC State.
What do you think of the basketball team right now?
Shoot. Hey, they can add me too, but DJ been balling though. Hey, they gonna get it done today, for sure.
Hey, Noah, the one thing about it with Grayson McCall being here, how was that for you when you knew he was going to be here as well? What did that do for you in your decision coming here?
It definitely made an impact because playing with a veteran quarterback, you can learn different things, just not from a receiver standpoint, but quarterback standpoint, help you with coverages and, timing on routes and everything. So playing with him has been great. He's a great leader, great dude, and, me and him have a good connection right now, so looking forward to that.
Who talks the most trash in the defensive backfield to you?
Probably Cisse, Brandon Cisse. He be talking. But I be playing with them. I be snatching their mouthpieces. I be trolling them, man.
That's great. Noah, we appreciate the time. Good luck in the fall.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you. Noah Rogers, transfer coming in from Ohio State. Back home, a Raleigh native playing for NC State now.
The DBs do a lot of chirping. So do the wide receivers, so I love to hear that.
I always thought most of the chirping came in the trenches.
No, it's those, because the guys inside, we're too tired of doing all that. I mean, it can be trash talk, but the guys outside, they're not banging every play. They do a lot of chirping, I'm telling you.
So about 1 minute left before we go off ACC Network and continue on ESPN Plus. We'll send you to Phoenix, where they'll be talking a lot of NC State basketball as they get set for Purdue. What are your final thoughts when you take a look at what we've seen today and the fall to come for Dave Doran's team?
Quarterback upgrade. Really, you get a quarterback like Grayson McCall, you upgrade your team. You have wide receivers like we just talked to Noah Rogers and the whole host, but also the running back crew has been really good, and that offensive line is nice. You can see where there's some places where guys are out today, but they're going to have to shore up the defensive front, which is going to come because you've got guys like Davin Van out, you got Aiden White and some others, but I really like where they're sitting offensively.
Well, if the spring game's job is to give us a sneak preview of what's to come in the fall, There is a lot to like when you take a look at this Wolfpack team, especially offensively. As another touchdown is scored. Perfect way to end as we send you to Phoenix to talk some NC State men's basketball, getting ready for the Final Four game tonight. For Charles, I'm Jay.
That was a heck of a throw by Lex Thomas.
Yeah, I want to take another look at this.
Yeah.
Because then Wesley Grimes, the transfer from Wake Forest, who they are very high on, another Raleigh native that has decided to come home.
I'm going to tell you, Mike Bellamy, my former teammate at Indianapolis, and he's, been in the coaching business for a while, was just doing some spring tours. And he said he came here and he was blown away by their receiving crew. And then he said, the running back crew is great. He said, these guys are going to be really explosive. And Lex Thomas is battling for that second position. Look at that throw, just outstanding catch, and then take it to the house by Wesley Grimes. Just so many weapons.
Well, think about that in the wide receiver room. Collins, Rogers, Grimes, Concepcion. 4 absolute studs in a very deep, stacked wide receiver room. And the running back room is loaded as well. We're joined by Jordan Waters, the transfer from Duke. Jordan, heck of a performance. First one in a Wolfpack uniform in front of fans. How did you feel out there?
It was good, man. I'm happy to be here. A lot of fans out here. I got my family here, so it was fun.
Jordan, what was the move for you to come over from Duke to here, knowing that you didn't have to go far, but you could still stay close to home?
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. I'm big on family, and I knew this was my last year where I could actually choose where I wanted to play at. And I'm close to my family. I'm only an hour and a half, so it allows my family to come down and see me all the time, come stay with me sometimes, and still see me for another year.
The one thing we heard from your coaches as we're taking a look at a couple of your highlights from earlier today is, you're durable, you're productive, and you've proven it in the ACC. Why is it important to, do it once more before you look to the NFL?
I knew I didn't have the season I wanted to last year, and knowing I could come back and up my draft stock was a good idea, and to do it here with a good team we built and we're still building was the best move for me, I think.
When you got here, those guys had to remember the 123 you put on them and the things that you did to them. They don't want to hear it now. What'd you say when you walk in the locker room, or was there anything said about that?
I told them don't say nothing to me because I won. Like that.
Love that. Well, we've talked to a couple of them. They're really happy that you're a teammate now and not an enemy.
Yeah.
Is this a team you've been in the ACC that you feel like can win this league and be in the college football playoff?
Oh, most definitely. We got playmakers in every room, every position group, and I think if there's a team to do it, it's this team.
Jordan, when you look at the young guys in your room, what do you see there? And give us a little bit of insight on those guys, because we've heard a lot of good things about that running back room as well.
Oh, it's steady growing. And the thing that surprised me is how willing they are to learn. And then when I practice, they always coming off and asking me, like, what can I do? Or how did you do this? Or what makes you see this type of stuff? And they're willing to learn. That's what excites me the far. And they're so far ahead from where I'm from when I was a freshman. They're in here early, getting extra treatment and all types of stuff. So they're going to be good.
What was the hardest part for you? Because I always hear, playing the running back position, you could run the football, you could catch, but pass pro. Why is that so difficult for young guys to pick up?
Like Coach said, he talked to a scout the other day, and that's what they lack in the NFL. They can't find a back that's willing to pass pro. All of them can pass pro, but you got to be willing to stick your nose in there. And that's something I'm trying to work on myself to give me an edge on getting to the next level.
Jordan Waters, we appreciate the time. Awesome performance in the spring game, and we look forward to watching you this fall.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
You too. And that's what's so impressive about this group. You bring in 13 transfers. You look at that list, all of them are impact guys.
Yeah, guys that were highly rated in high school, and then they come back and they make plays, or they were highly rated where they were and come in. And they have some of those on defense too, and we've been able to talk about it. Some of the guys that are transferring in that have been able to come and make plays. I think that's what you look for when you try to build your team. Defense, good coverage, good ability to stay with those players.
And Dave Doran told us one thing they look for in the transfer portal is guys that they have a relationship with. Yeah. North Carolina kids that they recruited hard that decided to leave and now maybe want to come back. And a really interesting thing is if you look at the programs that have put North Carolina kids in the NFL, Dave Doran has done it more than any other program in the state.
Yeah, and it shocks people with all the schools in this state. But what they've been able to do is you've got to have good players. You've got to have players that are good and that you can develop. And they've been able to do that. And they've been able to not miss on their quarterback transfers. We can talk about Grayson McCall, but they have been really good at getting quarterbacks to play for this program. They've really done a nice job there, and I think that's what sets them apart, because you can have a guy that can come in and he may not mesh with your team. This is one of those things that I look at and I say that's really good at picking guys to come in and help play.
Look at those names.
Yeah.
And it's really starting from Jacoby Brissett down. They have not missed.
Yeah. And then Brandon Mitchell, who came in, was a guy that got injured, but Jacoby had a nice career here. Ryan Finley, Brennan Armstrong for the 1 year, Grayson McCall. Those are things you have to look at as a quarterback, saying, hey, I can go to this program, and they've done a really nice job of not only taking guys from high school level and developing, but guys that come in and develop as well.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say next season, when we're here a year from now in the spring game looking ahead to fall 2025, they won't have a transfer quarterback because they, I think, have their quarterback of the future on the team in C.J. Bailey.
He has shown that he can really play. And when I first went to see him and watch some video of him in high school, and then understanding out of Florida, you don't win 2 times Offensive Player of the Year for just being a okay guy. He can throw the football, he can do a lot of things, and hey, I'm gonna say this, Lex Thomas has shown today too. He's like, hey, don't forget about me, guys. I'm here too. So that's the thing about competitive battling each and every day. But this young man has really shown and not only that, but when you talk to the coaches and you talk to the players, they also see it, because they know your teams know who can really play and who's not able to make plays for you.
Well, Dave Doran told us the one thing he's really been impressed with his team this spring is the competitive depth. And it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to see it, because we've been treated to 2 hours plus during this spring game of at every single position there's guys making plays.
Yep. And even the defense that didn't have the best day today, there were still guys on the defensive side making plays. But offensively, when you say we got to be more explosive, and Robert and I talking about how they dug deep to figure out how they were going to improve their offensive skill weaponry, you can see it.
And you have to mention that the defense today was without 3 starters and their best 3 players, Aiden White, Sean Brown, and Davin Vann. We got to speak with all 3 of those guys, and they said, we really like our group. We just didn't want to risk it today.
Devin Boykin is out. He missed spring. You also have the Auburn transfer, Donovan Kaufman, who is going to be coming in. You've got a linebacker also from that's transferring in the fall. So you've got guys that'll make some plays for him.
Final 2 minutes here in the fourth quarter. We showed the schedule earlier in the spring game, but it might be worth revisiting those 2 games in September. Tennessee in a neutral site game in Charlotte, and then at Clemson. Your 2 biggest games are in the first month of the season. How do you use the rest of the spring, the summer, and the fall to make sure you're firing right out of the gate?
Well, that just tells you, guys, we got to come into the season ready to go. From the very beginning, when we step on the field, it's go time. You don't have a time to kind of think about it or want to, and I think these guys have it. And if you have a quarterback who has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, he gets to go home against Tennessee, play close to his high school in Porter Ridge, downtown Charlotte. Didn't get recruited highly by a lot of these schools, didn't get recruited by SEC schools. So that's one thing. You've got a lot of transfers that have come in that want to help this program win. I think for them it's easy. Let's go play.
Well, there is a lot to like, especially on the offensive side of the football for NC State. Certainly a team to have on your radar come this fall. And we were happy to bring you a little bit of a sneak preview during the spring game. And again, in terms of play calling, you keep it pretty vanilla.
Yep.
But I think
you want your guys just to show what they can do, how they're going to play, how they're going to compete, and then you start throwing different things at them.
I think you were able to see the talent and the depth that this team will bring into the fall, though.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, what I anticipated seeing, I got to see, and what you asked me earlier about Grayson McCall, easy A for him today.
Yeah, that might have been the line of the game. Easy A for the new quarterback, Grayson McCall. Final play here as the crowd shouts out the clock dwindling down. Trying to get into the end zone to finish it off. Not going to get there, but the offense still reigns supreme. 51 points for this red team. And Dave Doran has to be happy with how his guys look. Spring football is upon us. It continues a week from now. 6 spring football games across ESPN's family of networks. A lot on the ACC network and ESPN+. For Charles Arbuckle, I'm Jay Alter saying so long from Raleigh.